Okay, so moving on to the second part of the homework, we have the standard American deck of cards, which of course is actually the French deck of cards. So hopefully you guys are familiar with this. Let's calculate the probability of these events. Getting a heart when pulling one card from the deck. So we're going to use our basic probability formula. It's a fraction. On top, we put the number of ways to do the event. So the number of ways to get a heart. And on the bottom, we're going to put the number of ways to get any card. Okay. So since we don't have our 36 outcomes laid out for us so neatly like we did up here, we actually have to calculate both numbers, the top and the bottom one. So the number of ways to get a heart is, well, there's 13 hearts in the deck. And the number of ways to get any card is 52. So the answer here is going to be 13 out of 52, which is the same as 1/4. 1 out of every 4 cards is a heart, so this should make sense, 1/4. Now let's try getting 2 hearts when pulling 2 cards from the deck. And these words are underlined because it's the same event, but a different experiment on the next 3 questions here. So getting 2 hearts when pulling 2 cards from the deck in order without replacement. So once again, I'm going to make a fraction, and then in my fraction, I want to have on top the number of ways to do the event, and on the bottom, the number of ways to just have any outcome from this experiment. So this will be number of ways to get 2 hearts, and then on the bottom, number of ways to get any 2 cards. So first we're going to do this with order, and then on the next question we'll do it without order. So on the top here, if I'm counting outcomes where order does matter, then the easiest way is to just do the number of options for the first card, and then multiply by the number of options for the second card. Now we have been told to use only the hearts. So for our first heart, we're going to just choose from the 13 available ones. So it's not going to be 52 because we're counting only hearts. And then for the next number here, we're doing this without replacement. So after we take 1 heart out, there will be 12 left. Now on the bottom, we're just going to do any 2 cards, but we're still doing it in order and without replacement. So here's what we get. All right, the next one is subtly different. So we're going to do this in no particular order and without replacement. So we're still not putting the cards back in the deck, but we're going to count outcomes where the order of the 2 cards does not matter. So we're going to need to use that choose notation. So basically the fraction I'm going to set up here is the same thing. I'm just going to use a different technique to actually calculate the number of ways. So this is the same thing. I'm still calculating number of ways to get 2 hearts over number of ways to get any 2 cards. So for the top here, I'm selecting from the 13 hearts. I want to grab 2 of them in no particular order. So this is going to be 13 choose 2. And then on the bottom, the same way, I'm going to take any 2 cards from the full deck of 52. So this will be 52 choose 2. Okay. Now for the last one, getting 2 hearts when pulling 2 cards from the deck in order with replacement. So we're doing it in order again, so we can use a similar technique to up here. But this time we are replacing the card back into the deck before drawing each next card. So I'm actually just gonna, to make this easy on myself, I'm gonna copy paste from up above, and then let's talk about what needs to change here. Okay, so the first number is going to be the same in each of the numerator and the denominator. But now, since we're putting the first card back in the deck before drawing the next one, when we go to draw our second heart, we still have 13 options for what heart it could be. And then on the bottom here, the same way, we have 52 options when we draw our second card. So we're actually getting different probabilities here for number 8 and number 10. Okay, So for the final part, we're going to use Google to actually calculate the answers to these 4 probabilities, like as percentages, rounded to 1 decimal place. And I put some little notes here, tips on how to type these into Google. So you can basically do this kind of format here. You want to put parentheses around each place where you're doing that choose thing to make sure Google understands that's like one number to calculate. Use the slash symbol for division, the asterisk for multiplication, and then of course, as with any calculator, if there is multiplication in a denominator, you should put parentheses around the outside of the entire denominator. So for example, all of these, well, most of these ones up here have multiplication in a denominator. So I'll just show you guys how I would actually type this into Google. Give me a second.